Alright, Title 42, USC Code, Chapter 77, Subchapter 1, Part B, Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Part B, Strategic Petroleum Reserve. 6231, Conditional Finding Declaration Policy. Corresponding that stores substantial quantities of petroleum products will diminish vulnerability in the United States and face a severe energy supply interruption, provide limited protection, short-term consequence of interruption of supply of petroleum products. It is a policy of the United States to provide a creation of strategic petroleum reserve for a strategy up to 1 billion barrels of petroleum products to reduce impact disruption, supplies petroleum products to carry out obligation of the United States under International Energy Program for other purposes provided in this chapter. Statutory notes and, references, editorial notes, statutory notes. Alright, 6232, definitions. Using this part in Part C, repealed Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, November 9, 2000, Title 114, Statute 2029. The term importer means any person who owns, in the first place, stores any petroleum product imported in the United States. Repealed Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, 5A, November 9, 2000. 114, 2020. The term interest in land means any ownership, proprietary right with respect to real property, including ownership fee and assessment, easement, leasehold, any subsurface or mineral rights. 5. The term readily available inventories means stock, supply of petroleum products which can be distributively used without affecting the ability of the importer or refiner to operate in normal capacity. Such terms does not include minimum working inventories or other available stocks. The term refinery means any person who owns, operates, control of the operation of any refinery. Repealed Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, 5A, November 9, 2000, 114, Statute 2029. Term related facility means any necessary improvements to a storage facility, including pipelines, roadways, reservoirs, salt brine lines. This term reserve means strategic petroleum reserve. The term storage facility means any facility with general information which is capable of storing significant quantities of a petroleum product. For the same, strategic petroleum reserve means petroleum products stored in a storage facility pursuant to this part. Editorial amendments. Alright, 623.33 repealed. 623.34 Strategic Petroleum Reserve Establishment. A. Strategic Petroleum Reserve for the storage up to 1 billion barrels of petroleum product was created pursuant to this part. Authority Secretary. Secretary in accordance with this part shall exercise over the development and operation and maintenance of the reserve. To C to E. Repeal Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103-7, C, Number 9, 2001, 14, 2030. Alright, purpose is drawdown distribution requires the funds for storage. Drawdown distribution petroleum products. Strategic petroleum is authorized by Title under 641 of this title. Drawdown distribution petroleum products, purpose other than those described in 6241 of the title should be prohibited. In the Secretary annual budget submission, the Secretary shall request funds, acquisition, transportation, injection, petroleum products, and storage remain in reserve. If no request for funds are made, Secretary shall provide a written explanation for the reason thereof. Then editorial amendments, strategic petroleum statutory notes. 623-35 to 623-8 repealed Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, November 8 through 11, November 2000, 114, Statute 2030. Alright, 6239, Development, Operation, Maintenance of the Reserve. A to the E, repealed Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, 13A, November 9, 2011, 114, Statute 2030. Alright, powers of the Secretary to develop, operate strategic petroleum reserve in order to develop, operate, maintain strategic petroleum reserve. The Secretary issue rules, regulations, orders, acquire, purchase, condemnation, otherwise land interest in land of the location of storage related facilities, construct, purchase, lease, otherwise acquire storage related facilities, using lease and maintain, sell, otherwise dispose of the land interest land storage for related facilities acquired under this part under such terms and conditions as the Secretary considers necessary or appropriate, acquire subject provisions section title 640 of this title, purchase, exchange, otherwise petroleum products stored in the strategic petroleum reserve. 6. Stored petroleum products in the storage facility owned and controlled by the United States, and the storage facilities owned other than those facilities are subject to audit by the United States. 7. Execute the contracts necessary to develop, operate, maintain strategic petroleum reserve. 8. Bring in action when the Secretary considers it necessary in a court having jurisdiction over the proceeding to acquire, condemnation, any real personal property, including facilities, temporary use of facilities, other interest land, together with any personal property located on or used with land. Acquisition on property negotiation prerequisite to condemnation. Before any condemnation proceeding is instituted, an effort shall be made to acquire property involved with the negotiation, unless the effort requires such property negotiation when a judgment of Secretary be futile or sometimes consuming the unreasonable delay of the development of the strategic petroleum reserve because 1. Reasonable doubt with identified owners, 2. Large number of the persons who with and whom would be necessary to negotiate it, and 3. Other reasons. H&I repealed Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, 13D, November 9, 2000, 114, 2031. Expansion beyond 700 million barrels, and Secretary determines expansion between 700 million barrels. Petroleum product inventory is appropriate for the Secretary shall submit a plan for expansion to the Congress. Exemption subtitle 4 of Title 49. A storage-related facility of the historic petroleum reserve owned by or leased by the United States is not subject to Interstate Commerce Act. L. Rulemaking drawdown sale. During a drawdown sale of strategic petroleum products, the Secretary may issue implementing rules, regulation, orders in accordance with Section 55(3) of Title 5 without regarding rulemaking requirements, Section 6393 of this title, and Section 7191 of this title. Six 2040 petroleum products storage, transportation, transport, and exchange. 8. Eligibility petroleum products. The Secretary may acquire the place in storage, transport, exchange petroleum products acquired and purchased for the exchange, object for the determined manner of the acquisition. Secretary shall, to the greatest extent possible, acquire the petroleum products for the reserve in a manner consistent with the following objectives: minimization of the cost of the reserve, repealed by Public Law 106-469, Title 1, 103, 14C, November 9th. 2014 Statute 2031, minimization of the nation's vulnerability to severe energy supply interruptions, minimization impacts such acquisition, supply levels, and market forces, and encouragement of competition in the petroleum industry. C. Procedure. Secretary should develop the public notice opportunity comment with the procedure consistent with the objectives section Act to acquire petroleum for the reserve. Such procedure shall take into account the need to maximize overall domestic supply of crude oil, including quantity stored in private sector inventories. 2. Avoid incurring excessive costs applicable affecting the price of petroleum products to consumer. 3. Minimize the cost for the Department of Interior, Department of Energy in acquiring such petroleum products, including foregone revenue to the Treasury when petroleum products for the reserve are obtained through royalty and kind program. 4. Protect national security. 5. Avoid adversely affecting current and future prices, supplies, inventories of oil. And 6. Address other factors that the Secretary determines appropriate. D. Appeal the Public Law 106-1469, Title 1, 103, 14D, November 9, 2000, 114, Statute 2031. Prepared pre-drawdown diversion. And Secretary of severe energy supply interruption may be imminent. The Secretary may suspend the acquisition of petroleum product for an injection of the petroleum product into the reserve and may sell any petroleum product acquired for or in transit but not ejected into the reserve. G is repealed, and H, purchase for the stripper well properties. If the President finds that declines in the production of oil, domestic resources pose a threat of national energy security, President may direct security to acquire oil from the domestic production of stripper well as property storage strategic petroleum reserve, except as provided in paragraph 2. The Secretary may set such terms and conditions as he deems necessary for acquisition. Such acquisition, crude oil purchased for the Secretary pursuant to the subsection shall be competitive bid. Price paid by the Secretary shall not take into account of the cost of production, including cost reservoir and well maintenance, and B. Shall not exceed the price that would have been paid if the Secretary had acquired the petroleum products of the similar quantity on an open market unless competitive bid procedures without regard to the source of petroleum products. Editorial amendments. Effective dates. Alright, filling strategic petroleum reserve to capacity. Public Law 109, Title 10958, Title 3301E1, August 8, 2005. 119, Statute 684, provides Secretary of Energy shall expeditiously, as practical without incurring excessive costs applicable affecting the price of petroleum products to consumer acquiring petroleum in quantity sufficient to fill strategic petroleum reserve 1 billion barrel capacity authorized in Section 154 Energy Policy Conservation Act in accordance with Section 159 160 of this Act. Procedures for acquisition for petroleum for the reserve. Public Law 10958, Title 3301E2B, August 8, 2005. 119, Statute 685. Provided for the review of requested deferrals and scheduled deliveries. Procedures developed under Section 160 Energy Policy Conservation Act as added in subparagraph A shall include procedures, criteria, review, requests, deferrals, scheduled and deliveries. C. Deadline. Secretary of Energy shall propose procedure required under the amendment made in subparagraph A and not later than 120 days after the enactment of this Act. Alright, 2. The promulgate of the procedure no later than 180 days after the enactment of this Act. Comply with the procedures acquiring petroleum reserve effective beginning of the date 180 days after this Act. Study and report of oil leasing and other arrangements to fill strategic petroleum reserve into 1 billion barrels. Public Law 10146, Statute 2, June 30th, 1989, 103, Statute 132, directed by the Secretary of Energy to conduct study of the potential financial arrangements include long-term leasing of the crude oil storage facilities that could be used as additional alternative means of financing filling strategic petroleum reserve to 1 billion barrels. Directed Secretary to transmit interim report committee, Energy Natural Resource of Committee, and Energy Commerce for the House of Representatives no later than October 5th, 1989, no later than February 1st, 1990, to transmit such copies of the preliminary written solicitation for proposed alternative financial arrangements to assist the filling of strategic petroleum reserve to 1 billion barrels. Final report containing findings, conclusions, together with the drag legislative change necessary to authorize move significant alternative arrangements and agricultural exchange allocation and strategic reserve low tariff crude oil for royalty in kind. We'll try to get back to the statutes. Alright, 6241, drawdown and sale of the products. Power of the Secretary. Secretary may draw down and sell petroleum products reserved in accordance with the provisions of the section. P&C repeal Public Law 106469, Title 1, 10315, see November 9, 2001, 14, Statute 2031. Presidential funding prerequisite for the drawdown sale. Drawdown sale petroleum products from the strategic petroleum reserve may not be made unless the President has found drawdown sales are required by severe energy supply interruption or by obligations to the United States under the International Energy Program. For purpose of this section, addition circumstance set forth in 6202, 8 of the title, severe energy and supply interruption shall be deemed to exist if the President determines that an emergency situation exists. There is significant reduction in supply, significant scope of deterioration, severe increase of the price of petroleum products as a result of such an emergency situation. Such prices increase likely to cause major adverse impact on the national economy. Sale procedure. The Secretary shall shall sell petroleum products withdrawn with the strategic petroleum reserve at a public sale to the highest qualified bidder an amount for the period, and if there are notice of the sale considered appropriate by the Secretary without regard to federal, state, local regulations controlling the sale of petroleum products, Secretary may cancel in whole or part any offer to sell petroleum products as part of any drawdown sale under this section. F is repealed. G. Directive to carry out test drawdown sale. 1. Secretary shall continue with the continuing evaluation of the drawdown sale procedure within conduct with the evaluation. Secretary authorized to carry out the test or draw sale exchange petroleum products from the reserve. Such test drawdowns and sale exchange may not exceed 5 million barrels of the petroleum product 2 is repealed. 3, at least part of the crude oil is the sold in exchange under the subsection shall be sold in exchange to or with the entities that are not part of the federal government. 4, the Secretary may not sell any crude oil under the subsection at a price less than which the Secretary determines appropriate known event at a price less than 95% of the sale price estimated by the to the Secretary comparable to crude oil being sold in the same area at the time Secretary and offering crude oil on the sale on the slideshow and order in subsection. 5, the Secretary may cancel any offer to sell exchange of the crude oil as part of the test under the subsection if the Secretary determines if there is insufficient acceptable offer to obtain such crude oil. 6, in the case of sale of any petroleum products under subsection, Secretary shall extend the funds available in the petroleum account. As a result, such sales acquire petroleum product for the reserve within 12-month period being with after completion of sale. 7, rules and regulation orders issued to carry out the subsection which have the applicability and effect with the rules defined in section 55(1). 4 of Title 5 shall not be subject to the requirements of Subchapter 2, Chapter 5 of the such title or to Section 6393 of this title. 8. Notice the Congress, prior to notice not less than 14 days before the date of the test is carried out on the subsection, the Secretary shall notify the House of Congress of the test. Be an emergency, the prior notice requirement subparagraph A shall not apply to the Secretary to determine the emergency exists which require the test to be carried out, in which case the Secretary shall notify both Houses of Congresses of the test as soon as possible. See detailed prescription in general no later than 180 days after the test is complete with under subsection. The Secretary shall submit House of Congress detailed description of the test. 2, report a detailed description submitted under the clause be included in part of the report made by the President and Congress under Section 6245 of this title. 8, prevention, reduction, adverse impact, severe domestic energy supply interruption. If the President finds that the circumstance of the described subsection D exists that constitute likely to become a domestic international energy supply shortage, significant scope of the duration be taken under subsection would assist directly, sufficient, and significantly in preventing or reducing adverse impact of such shortage. The Secretary has found that the action taken under subsection will not impair the ability of the United States to carry out obligations with the United States under an international energy program. The Secretary of Defense has found the action taken under subsection will not impair national security. The Secretary may subject limitations to paragraph 2, draw down sell petroleum products with a strategic petroleum reserve. Petroleum products from the reserve may not be drawn down under the subsection excess aggregated $30 million with respect to each such shortage for more than 60 days with respect to each such shortage and fewer than 252,400,000 barrels of petroleum product stored in the reserve below the level aggregated 252,400,000 barrels of petroleum product stored in the reserve. During any period in which there is a drawdown sale of the reserve in effect with the subsection, Secretary shall transmit monthly report Congress containing an account with the drawdown sale of the petroleum products under subsection assessment is to effect. If no case may be drawn under subsection be extended beyond 60 days with respect to any domestic energy shortage. Exchange of withdrawn product, notwithstanding any other law, the President may permit petroleum products withdrawn from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in accordance with this section to be sold and delivered for refining and exchange outside the United States in connection with the arrangement of the delivery of refined products to the United States. Alright, J. Purchase of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and even ancillary to areas of the United States freely associated states. Definition 1 and definition subsection binding offer. Term binding offer means a bid submitted by the state of Hawaii for assured aware specific the quantity of petroleum product with prices calculated pursuant to paragraph 2 subsection obligates the offer to take the petroleum product with for no negotiation recourse withdrawal of the offer. B. Category petroleum product. The term category petroleum product means the master line item of the notice of sale eligibility entry. Term eligible entry means that either that owns the control of the refinery located in the state of Hawaii. Full tanker load means full tanker load means tanker approximately 700,000 barrels of capacity. Such less tanker capacity may be designated in the state of Hawaii. Ancillary area. Terms ancillary area means Commonwealth, Puerto Rico, Commonwealth, Northern Mariana Islands, United States Virgin Islands, Guam, American Samoa, freely associated states of the Republic of Marshall Islands, federal states of Micronesia, and Puerto Palu. If offering, the term offering means the solicitation of bids, quantity, and quality of petroleum product from the strategic petroleum is specified in the notice of sale. And G, the notice of sale. The term notice of sale means the document announcing the sale of the strategic petroleum reserve products, quantity, characteristic, location, petroleum products being sold, delivery period of the sale, the purchase of submitting officers, as offers. General, in this case, offering quantity of the petroleum product drawn down strategic petroleum reserve of the state of Hawaii. In addition, having the opportunity to submit competitive may submit a binding offer shell with the submission offer the entitled with the purchase category of the petroleum specified with the notice of sale price equal volumetric weight average of the successful bids made with the remaining quantity of the petroleum product category that is subject to the offering. And 2, submit one or more alternative offers for the categories of the petroleum product with the binding of a no price competitive contract awards for the category petroleum product binding over some offer submitted under the clause. B, at the request of the governor of the state of Hawaii, petroleum product purchased by the state of Hawaii as a competitive sale under through binding offer shall have the first preference in scheduling and lifting. Limitation on quantity and general administration subsection in case that each offering secretary may impose limitations described in subparagraph B and C. Resolve of the purchase lesser quality of the petroleum product. B, proportion quantity of previous import. Secretary may limit the quantity of the petroleum product to that the state of Hawaii may purchase through the binding offer any offer 1/12 of the total quantity of the imports of the petroleum product brought in the state during the previous year or other period determined secretary represented. C, percentage of offering. The secretary may limit the quantity that may be purchased that binding offers offering to 3% of the offering. Adjustment in general, notwithstanding any limitation put in the paragraph 3 administration subsection in case of each offering, the secretary shall request the governor of the state of Hawaii eligible at any certified in paragraph 7 to adjust the quantity to be sold to the state of Hawaii in accordance with the paragraph. B, upward adjustment. Secretary shall adjust upward to the next whole number increment full tanker load quantity to be sold less than one full tanker load greater than an E or equal to 50% full tanker load of the whole number incremental full tanker load. 6, downward adjustment. Secretary shall adjust downward the next whole number increment of full tanker load and the quantity of the be sold with less than 50% of the full tanker load more than the whole number incremental full tanker load. 5, delivery other locations. State of Hawaii may enter the exchange processing agreement required to deliver the other location petroleum product similar value quantity is delivered to the state of Hawaii. 7, the standard sale provisions except otherwise provided in chapter. Secretary may require the state of Hawaii to comply with standard sale provisions applicable to purchase petroleum products and competitive sale. 7, eligible entities in general. So paragraph B and C, notwithstanding the provision in paragraph governor of the state of Hawaii certified with the Secretary of State has entered an agreement eligible entity with the carry out of this chapter. Eligible entity may act on behalf of the state of Hawaii to carry out the subject limitation. Governor of the state of Hawaii shall not certify more than one eligible entity under the paragraph for each notice of sale. C, barred company. Secretary have notified the governor of the state of Hawaii that the company has been barred from bidding either prior to any time the notice of sale is issued. Governor shall not certify that the company under this paragraph supplies of petroleum products at the request of governor ancillary area. Secretary shall, for the period not exceeding 100 days, follow the drawdown strategic petroleum reserve assistant ancillary area president freely associated states efforts to maintain an adequate supply of petroleum products to traditional and non-traditional suppliers. Alright, we'll get back to the next part. 6242, Coordination Import Quota Stat System. Non-quantitative restriction of importation of any petroleum product in the United States imposed law shall apply with the volumes of any petroleum product imported in the United States in storage or preserve. 6243. Records and account preparation and maintenance. Secretary may require any person prepared to maintain such records accounts of this as the Secretary may rule determines necessary to carry out the purpose in this part. Audit operation store facility. Secretary audit operation store facility in which any petroleum product is stored required to be stored pursuant to the provision of this part. See access inspection records account of the store facility. Secretary may require access to write, inspect, examine in reasonable time any records or accounts to be prepared and maintained pursuant to subsection A and 2. Any storage facility subject to audit by the United States under the authority of this part. 6244 repeal. 6245 annual report. Secretary shall report annually to the President and Congress of the action in part of this part. The report shall include the status of the physical capacity with the reserve of the type of the quantity of the petroleum product within reserve, Estimate of scheduled cost complete, planned equipment upgrade with a capital investment, and the reserve upgrades, including upgrades, investments carried out, and operational maintenance extension for the life of the activities, and identification of any lifetime conditions, operational problems with the reserve facility, proposed the remedial action, including assessment, scheduled costs, implement those remedial actions, description, current withdrawal, distribution rates, capabilities, identification of any of the operation of the limitation rates, capacity, capabilities. 5. A list of petroleum products acquisition made in the preceding year, plan for the following year, including quantity, price, and type of the petroleum. Summary of the actions develop, operate, maintain reserve. Summary of the financial status, financial transaction, strategic petroleum reserve, strategic petroleum reserve accounts for the year. Summary expense for the year, number of the federal contractor employees, status of the contractor deployment, operation, maintenance, distribution, other activities related to the implementation of this part. Summary of foreign oil storage agreements, their implementation status, a recommendation, supplemental legislation, policy, operational change is, and the secretary consider the necessary appropriate to implement this part. Alright, 6246, authorization appropriations. There's authorized to be appropriated to the secretary such sums necessary to carry out this part and part of the D that remain available until expended. 6247, strategic petroleum reserve, petroleum account. Establishment. Secretary of Treasury shall establish for the Treasury of the United States an account to be known as the Strategic Petroleum Account. Herein, in a section referred to as the account. Obligations of fund for the acquisition, transportation, injection, petroleum products, and the Strategic Petroleum Reserve amount of the account may be obligated by the Secretary of Energy of the acquisition, transportation, injection of petroleum products into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve for test sales of petroleum products from the reserve and from drawdown sales delivery petroleum products from the reserve. Repeal 1, repeal Public Law 106469, Title 1, 103. In 1982, the November 9, 2001, 14, Statute 2013. In this case, of any fiscal year, subject section to 7270 of the title, such aggregated amounts may be the appropriate Advanced Operations Act. And 3, in case the fiscal year notwithstanding 7270 with its title aggregated amount equal to the aggregated amount receipt of the United States sales petroleum product, any drawdown distribution of strategic petroleum reserve under section 6241, including a drawdown distribution carried out under subsection G of the such section from a sale of petroleum products of 6240F of this title. Funds available to Secretary of Energy. Obligation under the subsection may remain available to fiscal year limitation. C. Provision deposit of funds. Secretary of Treasury shall provide deposit accounts. Such sums may be necessary to meet obligations of Secretary of Energy on subsection B. Alright, D, off-budget procedures, accounting deposit withdrawal from the account and transaction receipts, obligation outlays associated with such deposit withdrawals, including petroleum product purchase of the related transaction, and receipt of United States sales, petroleum products, any drawdown distribution, strategic petroleum reserve under section 6241, including drawdown distribution carried out in subsection G of the such section, and from the sale of petroleum products under subsection 6240F of this title shall be not limited to totals of budget the United States government shall expend from any general limitation imposed statute expenditure of net lending and budget outlays of the United States, and shall not deemed to be budget authority, spending authority, budget outlays, federal revenues for the purpose of Title 3, Public Law 93-344, as amended in Title 2, U.S. Code 63-1, intent sequence. Alright, 6247A, use of underutilized facilities, authority notwithstanding any of the provisions subject secretary of lease or otherwise for any term under the such other conditions secretary consider the necessary appropriate may store the underutilized strategic petroleum reserve facility, petroleum product owned by a foreign government or its representative, petroleum products stored under section are not part of the strategic petroleum reserve may be exported without license of the United States. Protection of facilities. All agreements entered within the pursuant subsection A shall continue provision provided the fees fully compensated with the United States. All related costs, storage, removals, petroleum products include proportional costs of replacement facilities necessitated as a result of the any withdrawals incurred in the United States on behalf of the foreign government of the representative. C. Access stored oil. Secretary shall ensure the agreements to store petroleum products foreign governments of their representatives do not impair the ability of the United States to withdraw, distribute, sell petroleum products from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in response to any energy emergency. The obligation of the United States under the agreement of the International Energy Program. Availability funds collected through the leasing of Strategic Petroleum Reserve facilitates authorized subsection A after September 30th, 2007 shall be used to secure the energy without appropriation for purchase of petroleum products in Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Alright, 6247B, purchase of the oil from marginal wells in general amounts authorized in section 6246 and the title indicate if the price of oil decreases in an amount less than $15 per barrel, an amount equal to the annual average wellhead price per barrel of all domestic crude oil adjusted inflation. Secretary may purchase oil from marginal well at $15 per barrel adjusted for inflation. Definition: marginal well. The term marginal well has the same meaning as definition of strip or well property in section 613A-C6 of Title 26. And that was not all the amendments and editorial notes, but it was Title 42 U.S. Standard Code Chapter 7 says SUBCHAPTER 1 Part B Strategic Petroleum Reserve.